you know that you're blessed? That was a question that I was asking. How do you know that you're blessed? And I was just looking at some examples of how our mindsets, the things that we're thinking, the things that we've seen, the things that we've been around, the exposure sometimes causes us to believe that we are not blessed when we are.
Welcome to my neck of the woods on the. My name is Elizabeth. I am here for you. I am here for you. We talk about business, lifestyle, fitness, and everything that's in between.
Hey y'all, welcome back. This is your girl Elizabeth, and this is Life with Elizabeth. Today we are talking about the Good Samaritan. So if you are new to this channel, welcome, 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 welcome to my neck of the woods, to where we talk about faith, business, and everything in between. Today we're talking about the Good Samaritan. Last week we were talking about, or the last few videos we've been talking about, how do you know that you're blessed? That was a question that I was asking. How do you know that you're blessed? And I was just looking at some examples of how our mindsets, the things that we're thinking, the things that we've seen, the things that we've been around, the exposure sometimes causes us to believe that we are not blessed when we are. Then we also talked about making mistakes. I've made many mistakes during this walk, during this journey, but when I fell down, I got back up. When I left the church, I came back. When I felt like I was rejected, I found my way back and I found the right people. And so based on those conversations, and then the following week, we also talked about being forgotten. That's where may have been feeling like you're rejected. And based on that conversation of feeling rejected, feeling denied, feeling as if the church has gone against you, or people that you connected with at church were against you, or didn't check for you, or didn't call you, I want to talk a little bit about that. There were times that I did feel as if I was not a part. Like I didn't feel like I connected anywhere. Like, where did my puzzle piece fit? And just with that thought pattern and that feeling, it caused me to pull away even more. And then it also caused me to feel as if I was being rejected by the church, the entire church, all the churches. Because of that thought pattern, I created a stigma in my mind about churches in general, when I only had attended a few churches. I only visited a few churches at that time. And because I didn't connect anywhere, I didn't join their groups, their small groups, and none of those things where people actually connect. Even outside of the body of Christ, even outside of being a Christian, it's not easy as an adult to find friends. It's not easy as an adult to connect with people. And so sometimes when we put those big, broad statements out there, the people in church or the people, whatever, it's kind of a wrong concept. It's kind of a wrong thing to say, because reality is it's not easy when you start a job to find a friend on that job. It's not easy to go in the club, any club, Rotary Club, Kiwanis, any of those clubs, and know someone and connect with those people. It's hard as an adult to just make friends, and friends that are similar to you. When you were in high school, when you were younger in elementary school, primary school, we say primary school in the Bahamas, you found your people. You kind of jumped around with different people, all the different kids your age, and you just figured out who you could mesh with. So elementary school was that time when you just kind of spread your wings with everyone. Then when you got into high school, you kind of created a little clique, a little group of people that you knew was like your people. They understood and spoke your language. And then going into university, you've already had that group, you've already had the clique, and maybe one or two people was added, but you already had your little group of people. And then coming out into the world where everybody's just doing their thing. So now who do you connect to? So now you've started attending a church and maybe you didn't connect with the people and then you felt rejected. But is it possible that maybe you didn't connect with people? Maybe they didn't actually get to know you. Maybe they don't even have your number to call you. Like, did they know how to find you? Did you allow them in? So many times we say, as people in general, that nobody checked for us, or we're feeling rejected, or we're feeling all these different things. But did you actually let people in? Did you allow them the opportunity to get to know you so that they can pick up the phone and call you? So today, talking about the Good Samaritan, um, this is how we're going to tie it into finding our people, finding our destiny helpers, finding those people that are in our niche, or that can connect with us, that we can relate to. So we're basing the story from the Good Samaritan in Luke 10, starting from verse 30. I don't know if you've heard this story before. I don't really like reading this, like the entire scripture, especially for the videos, but I want to give you the synopsis of the story. So there was a guy that got beat up, and there were people that passed that didn't help him, but there was this particular person that helped. This person took him in to an inn or a hotel and paid for everything. The person had oils and ointments to help heal the wounds, because this guy was on the verge of dying. And even after this person left, he told the caretaker of the inn that he'll return if there is any extra debt for this person, for this guy that was on his way out, that was dying, that got beat up. And so based on that story, Jesus was saying to the disciples, he was saying to a group of people that, how do you know who's your person? How do you know um, your neighbor? How do you know your destiny helper? Let's figure this thing out. Let's talk about it. Let's learn it together. In Luke 10 and 29, there were two people that passed this guy after he got beat up, and it was the priest and Levite. So the men of God, the Christians, the good people, the religious people, the people that should be keeping the word, because, we can beat them up for not helping, for not assisting, but were they called to assist that person? I told a friend the other day, she came to speak to me, and then we talked about the situation. And based on the person she was connecting to, I was like, are you sure God assigned you to that person? Like, yes, you love people and you want to help, but there are times when God needs them to be isolated so that He can correct them, that He can instruct them, or so that He can allow specific people to help them. And then you're not their destiny helper. You're not assigned to that person. Who is the person destined to help you? Who is the person for you to help? Who are you destined to help, and who is destined to help you? How do you know? It's all based on compassion and empathy. When I learned this, all the guilt, I don't care what no one say, you could come for me all you want, but I know if I don't feel compassion in my heart to do something, I am totally not doing it anymore. I remember just as simple as like going to the red light, and then you'd have, okay, in the Bahamas we call them Jonesers. I think United States they call them hobos. Um, and then in Canada we just say homeless people. So you get to the light, and then somebody comes to the car and they need some cash, they need some money, they're scrapping for change. And a long time ago, I always used to think about it. I was like, what are they actually, when you give them money, what are they actually getting the money for? Is it for drugs or is it for food? Because if it's for food, I could purchase the food. If it's for drugs, no. But either way, I never really felt, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I need to help this person. I honestly didn't. But because of social, like society and just like people making comments and that kind of stuff, like I learned to start doing it just to look good, to look like you're helping this person. But the reality is, are you actually helping them? Are you actually called to help them? Or in that moment, should you be helping them? Because you may not be called to this person or destined to help them, but in this moment when they have a need, are you the person that's supposed to fulfill that need? So anyway, learning this particular story, learning that you're not destined for everyone. You're not supposed to be helping everyone. And sometimes even looking at some people that um, they've depleted themselves so much trying to help everybody, right? Like if you look at family members, I'm not trying to knock your family. I know it because I see it in my own family. I'm not trying to knock you if you're doing it. This is what you can learn from and make the changes. Because I know for me, I used to help so many people, like all the time. And then hearing a story at church, this person, every time they got paid, there was someone calling them up for something. Their family member being sick. There was somebody that needed money for something all the time. How is that possible? That is a devourer. That person need to know how to create boundaries, right? And so when I realized that I wasn't destined to be helping everyone. You cannot help everyone. There were some changes that I needed to make. And so looking at this story, and let's continue looking at the story, we know that the Good Samaritan wasn't just a Good Samaritan, that was a destiny helper. That person was destined to help this guy. Now, is it for his entire life or just for that moment? Who's to say? We don't know the rest of the story. But in this situation, he was destined, because even him just being on that road, he was destined to help this guy. And so, even in the story, we see that it says that he had compassion, he felt sorry, he had empathy for this guy. So I'm going to go through the scripture just a little bit because I want you to get it. I don't want you to no longer feel guilty when people want something, whatever it is, money, your time, whatever, and you say no. It's okay to say no. I'm going to say it again. It is okay to say no. If you're not destined to help, or you don't have the ability to help, you don't have extra resources to help, it's okay to say no. So Jesus was telling the story, and then he says, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves. So there was something that happened. He just fell among thieves. Like they saw him. So he just got robbed, and they stripped him of his clothing and beat him up and just left him there to die. And then the priest passed. So when the priest got nearby, the priest saw him and then went on the other side of the road. So the same thing with the Levite. The Levite saw him, and the Levite is a prophet or a religious member, and looked at him and went on the other side of the road. Felt nothing, didn't feel guilty, didn't feel no compassion, no empathy, nothing. Didn't feel anything by it. They continued on their way, probably going to the church, going to the synagogue, whatever it was. They continued on their way, and they probably even forgot about him. They didn't remember that even happened. But a certain Samaritan was journeying along the road and saw this guy. And so in verse 33, it says, and he had compassion. He had empathy. He felt sorry. He felt connected to this person. He felt connected to this guy that got beat up. So when there's a story, now remember, people use your empathy and compassion to play with your emotions. So sometimes you go places and people are being fake. So they pretend as if they don't have money, or they pretend as if they are in need, and they talk about you being a Christian. Oh, you're a Christian lady. Why don't you please give me $20? Why don't you please help me with give me a scholarship, help me with my financial aid, or whatever it is. So sometimes they play on your emotion, because you want to prove that, yes, I am a child of God. Yes, I am a Christian. Yes, I am a good person. Yes, I can do these things. You end up being used. You end up being mistreated by people that you are not destined to help. And so the Good Samaritan had compassion. So this person didn't play on his emotions. They didn't play the right music so that it stirs up emotion and make him feel sad. He looked, he knew that he can help. And guess what? He had, um, so it says he went to him and bandaged his wounds. He had bandage. So he even had something to help him. Pouring on oil and wine, he set him on his own animal, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. So he had the strength and ability to help this person. He also had resources, finances, and bandage and oils and wine to help this guy. So he didn't take from his lack. So the Good Samaritan wasn't lacking. He wasn't lacking emotionally. He wasn't lacking with physical strength. He wasn't lacking when it came to space. So he had enough for himself, and he had extra so that he can give to this guy that was in need, this guy that had been beat up. What am I saying to you? When there is a time that somebody is in need, or you are wondering if this person was your destiny helper, if there was a lack in the area where it was your need, it's likely that that person may not have been your destiny helper, or not in that area. So you have destiny helpers that can come and help you in different aspects of your life. Just like having a destiny helper at your work, at your office, having a destiny helper when you get into a specific space to get things done, having a destiny helper at your church, having a destiny helper as a mentor. The person has the capacity, the interest, the compassion, and the ability and resources to help you. There are a few things that stands out to me, even talking about this kind of thing, is, sometimes you go to people and you ask to borrow money, or you ask for things, whatever it may be, to borrow a computer or a microphone or the glasses. So you go and ask this person for glasses, and they may have took it off their face and lent you their glasses. The likeliness is that person at some point, if you don't return the glasses, will be irritated at you, because you took from their need. You took from what they was using. You took where they was not abundant. So when somebody is your destiny helper, when somebody is helping you, you're taking from the place of their increase, from their place of abundance. You're not taking from where they lack. So if a person doesn't have emotional strength to deal with you, it's likely that if you stay around them over time, they will get frustrated with you. They'll be angry, and they'll probably be shouting at you and mistreating you. And that doesn't look like God. That doesn't look Christ-like. That doesn't look loving. But the person it's not that they're not a Christian, and it's not that they're not wanting to help. It's that they weren't supposed to help. They didn't have the abundance. They didn't have it in them to assist you. You may go to someone and ask them for a place to stay. Maybe they may have an extra room, but during that season or during that time, they may need finances, and you don't have the finances to pay for the room. That person may not be your destiny helper. Or there may be somebody who will financially assist you so that you can pay for the room. But my point is that the person that's destined to help you aren't taking from their lack. They are not in need in that area, and they have the ability and resources to help you. Think about the many times that you've gone to someone, maybe in the church, maybe family members, having an expectation, but being challenged because they mistreated you, being challenged because you couldn't understand why they were rejecting you. But the reason why they may have been rejecting you is because you were not destined for them to help. It's okay. It's okay. Everyone is not our destiny helper. Everyone is not our neighbor. Everyone is not our friend. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with if you've been rejected by this person and stepping back to check yourself and checking to make sure that maybe this person may have trauma and they haven't dealt with it as yet, and you not staying within the parameters of that person to continuously be rejected or be mistreated, because that person could still be your best destiny helper, but they haven't dealt with some things. So how do you know the resources? How do you know who are your destiny helpers? They would help. They're there to help. They're not there for you to beg. They're not there for you to be getting frustrated and being mistreated. Today we talked about the Good Samaritan. We looked at the story from the book of Luke, Luke chapter 10, verse 30. And in that story, Jesus was just talking about this man that got beat up. And there was a helper. There was somebody that was his neighbor. There was somebody that was his friend. There was somebody that was able to assist him, that had the resources, the finances, the ability, the strength to help this guy. The Levite and priest, they turned their heads. They turned away, went on the other side, and they did not assist. Yes, they're Christians. It doesn't change the fact that they're Christians. It doesn't change the fact that they love God. They did not have the compassion. They were not compelled. They didn't have the resources. They didn't feel the need. And then they may not have even remembered, because I was not the person who they were supposed to help. They were not assigned to help. Today, if you are feeling rejected by the church, you're feeling rejected by family, you're feeling rejected by a friend, is it possible that they're not your neighbor? They're not the person that is supposed to assist you either during this season or at all. Be okay with being a friend, but stepping back, with loving from a distance, with keeping boundaries, and learning how to let people in, how to love from that distance, how to love without being mistreated, from being mistreated or getting mistreated, how to love with slowly, with wisdom, with understanding. Applying wisdom will help you avoid the areas of trauma. Listen, this has been another good one for us. I loved it. I love this conversation. Have you ever been hurt from someone who you thought was your helper, your destiny helper? How did you overcome that? Like, how did you deal with that? What did you do? Are you today feeling as if your church has rejected you? Is that the church for you? Is it your family church? Did you outgrow that church and it's time to go to a church that is going to feed you and teach you and love you and nurture you like you're supposed to be nurtured? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to outgrow that church. It's okay to move on. It's okay to walk away. Today, find the right people. Find your good Samaritan. Find your neighbor. Find your destiny helper. Without them, sometimes it can feel like we've been rejected. We can feel hurt and we can get frustrated. But knowing the church, the community where you're supposed to be, where you're going to learn, where you're going to grow, and you're going to be fed, helps your walk, your journey, even in business, your life so much. This has been another good one for ya. I'm going to see you in the next video. Please do remember to like, subscribe, and share. Let a friend know. Every Saturday, there's a video here on this channel. This is Life with Elizabeth. Peace out, y'all.
Subscribe to my channel so you're notified every time a video has been uploaded. Follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and I am on TikTok. Also, do remember to leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on the video that you've been watching. Remember to click the thumbs up for each video that you watch and share it with a friend. I will see you in the comments.